I like where guys just tighten their belt up and say, you know what, let's go to work. We just got to get better. I think it devalues that. You're not climbing the mountain, you're taking a helicopter to the top.
Totally agree.
So we got to play harder, we got to play smarter, instead of just, where's the grass greener? I'm going to go there and win a championship. I like kind of brag on Michael Jordan here a little bit, and I think we were a similar ilk with the Jazz.
John Stockton didn't raise his voice. He didn't pound the table. He just leaned back, looked at the camera, and dropped one sentence that might haunt LeBron's legacy for the rest of time. You're not climbing the mountain. You're taking a helicopter to the top. He wasn't talking about some random role player. He was talking about the so-called king of this era. And the way he said it, calm and matter-of-fact, hit harder than any debate show rant you've heard in the last 10 years. Because when a guy like John Stockton talks about the grind, you listen. 19 years in Utah. Same small market, same fan base, same colors on his back. No super team vacations, no orchestrated decision. Just showing up, taking the hits, and coming back again and again to try and beat the greatest player who's ever lived.
Yeah, you're LeBron, but you're not 27-year-old LeBron. You're not even 34-year-old LeBron. Like, it's already in a free fall. I think the Bronny thing started the free fall. I think people around the league are looking like, you're an old man now who's dictating and destroying the Lakers because you want your son to play, and look what...
So when Stockton looks at today's league and says some guys are taking helicopters instead of climbing, you know exactly who everyone is thinking about. Before we go any further, if you're already hearing that line in your head and thinking, yeah, that's LeBron, go ahead and hit subscribe, because we're going to unpack exactly why that one sentence might end up defining how people see LeBron 10 years after he retires. Let's start with what Stockton meant by the mountain. For him, the mountain was Utah. It was Karl Malone by his side, the same coach, the same fan base, the same heartbreaks. It was walking into the building knowing Michael Jordan might rip your heart out again, and showing up anyway. No shortcuts. No backroom meetings to form a big three somewhere warmer. Just tightening the belt and saying, we have to play harder, we have to play smarter, we have to get better. That was his reality for nearly 2 decades. He didn't get the parade, he didn't get the rings, but nobody can say he didn't climb. Now, line that up next to LeBron's story. The moment things got ugly in Cleveland, he didn't look at his teammates and say, we have to figure this out. He looked around the league and said, where's Dwyane Wade? Where's Chris Bosh? Where can I go to win faster? According to his own words, he took his talents to South Beach, not because Cleveland had hit its ceiling, but because he wanted a new, easier path to the top. When that chapter got old and the wear and tear started showing, he didn't dig in and try to rebuild Miami. He flew back to Cleveland, this time with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving waiting. When that core eventually cracked, he didn't stay and rebuild again. He shot out to Los Angeles, paired up with Anthony Davis, and went hunting for another ready-made situation. At every steep part of the climb, LeBron found a chopper pad. And yes, he won. Nobody is denying that. Rings are rings. But Stockton's point is simple. How you get them matters. There's a difference between climbing the same brutal mountain for 19 years and calling for a helicopter every time the path gets rocky. That's the part LeBron fans don't like hearing, but more and more people are starting to feel. And this is where the conversation gets even more uncomfortable for LeBron, because Stockton isn't just poking at team hopping. He's poking at something much bigger, the retirement test. We almost never talk about this, but we should. Greatness isn't just what you do while you're playing. It's what happens to your story once you're gone. When the cameras turn off, when the social media posts slow down, when the podcasts stop, all that's left is the feeling people get when they say your name. Look at Michael Jordan. Every year since he retired, his legend somehow gets bigger. The flu game feels more epic. The push-off in Utah looks more like art than controversy. The fact that he got battered by the Pistons before finally taking them down makes his story feel like a movie that actually earned its final act. Now, be honest. Does LeBron's story feel like that right now? Ask yourself a simple question. When was the last time a LeBron game had you out of your seat, yelling, texting your friends, feeling like you just watched something you'll never forget? Those moments happened in Miami. They happened in early Cleveland, Part 2. They happened in 2016. But lately, a lot of what we see feels more like stat maintenance, chasing numbers, playing just well enough to move a little higher on another all-time list. It's efficient, it's smart, but it doesn't feel mythical. That's what Stockton's line exposes. LeBron's legacy is built on optimization, longest career, most points, so many conference finals, so many years as in the conversation. It's impressive on paper, but when you strip away the branding, the documentaries, the hype machine, and you just look at the story itself, it starts to feel like a guy who kept calling for a lift instead of grinding it out on one brutal, unforgiving mountain. And nothing makes that clearer than the Bronny situation. This is where Stockton's helicopter metaphor stops being symbolic and becomes painfully literal. In a normal world, Bronny James would fight for a roster spot, probably grind in the G League, prove himself the way most fringe prospects do. Instead, according to almost everyone around the league, the Lakers didn't draft Bronny because he was the best basketball move. They drafted him because they were terrified of what LeBron would do if they didn't. That's not a development plan. That's leverage. LeBron didn't just help his son. He reportedly forced an entire franchise to bend around his personal dream. He airlifted Bronny into a situation most kids never get a chance to sniff. And the message that sends is brutal. My goals come before the team. My story comes before the franchise. You can see why that rubs a guy like Stockton the wrong way. His kids didn't get this kind of fast track. His reputation didn't buy them all-star level opportunities. They had to climb. No shortcuts, no helicopters. And this is where fans are starting to turn. People are tired of feeling like everything is manufactured. The super teams, the staged announcements, the carefully produced documentaries that drop right before a big decision. LeBron doesn't just have a PR team. He has an entire empire in clutch sports, a media machine that touches players, networks, and narratives all over the league. That kind of power is impressive. But it's also exactly why a lot of Hall of Famers and old-school players are finally speaking up. They can't relate to it. They came from an era where your story was whatever happened between the lines and maybe a few newspaper columns the next day. Now it's branding meetings, content calendars, and Instagram strategy. So when Stockton fires off that mountain versus helicopter line, he's not just clowning LeBron's teams. He's calling out an entire culture. A culture where it feels like everything has been optimized for comfort, leverage, and control, and not for the purity of the climb. And here's the real problem for LeBron in the long run. Fans are starting to crave authenticity more than ever. They want stories about guys who sacrificed, who stayed when it would have been easier to leave, who lost in the conference finals and came back anyway instead of jumping ship. They look at Ali and think about a man who gave up his prime for his principles. They look at Jackie Robinson and see someone who endured hell to break barriers. They look at Jordan and see a guy who got punished by the Pistons, then came back stronger and took the league away from them. Those stories feel messy, painful, and real. LeBron's story, fair or not, feels smoother. Every move looks calculated. Every chapter looks prepared. Every decision feels like part of a long-term brand plan. That's smart business. But it doesn't create mythology. It doesn't create that deep emotional bond that makes fans defend you like family long after you're gone. That's why you hear people quietly saying that in 10 years, LeBron might not be top 2 on a lot of lists. He might be 4th, 5th, 6th, not because the stats changed, but because the feeling did. Meanwhile, Stockton never won a ring. He never held the trophy on parade day, but everyone knows exactly who he was. The guy who showed up in Utah for 19 seasons and refused to take the easy way out. His story is solid. It doesn't need spin. It doesn't need a documentary rollout. It passes the retirement test easily. LeBron climbed high. No one can deny that. But the more you listen to legends like Stockton, the more you start to wonder how many times he actually climbed the mountain, and how many times he just called for a helicopter when the air got thin. And at the end of the day, that might be the difference. Being great is one thing. Being remembered as great forever is something completely different. So now I want to hear from you. Was John Stockton out of line with that comment? Or did he say what a lot of people have secretly been thinking for years? Do you see LeBron as a climber? Or as a guy who found the best pilots in the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this gave you a new angle on the LeBron debate. And make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that are reshaping how we see basketball's biggest names. This legacy conversation isn't even close to over. We're just getting started.